Edge. The outside limit of an object, a surface or an area, the part furthest from the center. For example, I gripped the edge of my desk to steady myself.
Effect.
Effect. A change that somebody/something causes in somebody/something else, a result.
Elbow.
Elbow. The joint between the upper and lower parts of the arm where it bends in the middle. For example, she jabbed him with her elbow.
Elect. To choose somebody to do a particular job by voting for them. For example, elect somebody as something.
Elegant. Attractive and showing a good sense of style. For example, she was tall and elegant.
Elephant. A very large animal with thick grey skin, large ears, two curved outer teeth called tusks and a long nose called a trunk. There are two types of elephant, the African and the Asian. For example, herds of elephants.
Elevate. To give somebody/something a higher position or rank, often more important than they deserve. For example, elevate somebody/something to something.
Email.
Email. A way of sending messages and data to other people by means of computers connected together in a network. For example, I will be on vacation for a week in November.
Embody. To express or represent an idea or quality. For example, embody something.
Embrace. To put your arms around somebody as a sign of love or friendship. For example, they embraced and promised to keep in touch.
Emergence.
Emergence. The fact of something moving out of or away from something and becoming possible to see. For example, the island's emergence from the sea 3,000 years ago.
Empower. To give somebody the power or authority to do something. For example, be empowered to do something.
Enable.
Enable. To make it possible for somebody/something to do something. For example, this new program will enable older people to study at college. Encourage. To give somebody support, courage or hope. For example, encourage somebody.
Encouragement. The act of encouraging somebody to do something, something that encourages somebody. For example, a few words of encouragement. Encouraging. That gives somebody support, courage or hope. For example, this month's unemployment figures are not very encouraging. Endorsement. A public statement or action showing that you support somebody/something. For example, the election victory is a clear endorsement of their policies.
Enemy.
Enemy. A person who hates somebody or who acts or speaks against something. For example, she didn't have an enemy in the world.
Engage. To succeed in attracting and keeping somebody's attention and interest. For example, it is a movie that engages both the mind and the eye.
Engaged.
Engaged. Having agreed to marry somebody. For example, when did you get engaged? Engagement. An agreement to marry somebody, the period during which two people are engaged. For example, their engagement was announced in the local paper.
Enhance.
Enhance. To increase or further improve the good quality, value, or status of somebody/something. For example, this is an opportunity to enhance the reputation of the company.
Enough. To the necessary degree. For example, I hadn't trained enough for the game. Enough. To the necessary degree. For example, I hadn't trained enough for the game.
Inquire. To ask somebody for some information. For example, inquire about somebody/something.
Entertain. To interest somebody or make somebody laugh in order to please them. For example, the aim of the series is both to entertain and inform. Enthusiastic. Feeling or showing a lot of excitement and interest about somebody or something. For example, an enthusiastic supporter.
Entitle. To give somebody the right to have or to do something. For example, be entitled to something.
Equip. To provide yourself/somebody/something with the things that are needed for a particular purpose or activity. For example, equip something.
Essentially. When you think about the true, important or basic nature of somebody as something. For example, there are 3 essentially different ways of tackling the problem.
Everybody.
Everybody. Every person, all people. For example, everybody knows Tom.
Evident.
Evident. Clear, easily seen. For example, the orchestra played with evident enjoyment.
Evil. A force that causes bad things to happen, morally bad behavior. For example, the eternal struggle between good and evil.
Excess.
Excess. More than is necessary, reasonable or acceptable. For example, you can throw away any excess.
Exchange. An act of giving something to somebody or doing something for somebody and receiving something in return. For example, the exchange of prisoners took place this morning. Exchange. An act of giving something to somebody or doing something for somebody and receiving something in return. For example, the exchange of prisoners took place this morning.